name is Janie Everett, CEO and President of Research and established as a 501c3 in 2015. Is to remember the save them. To show construction and endowment education center and museum to honor the workers to save them. We split the to this plan in two sections, and the reason, two stages. The reason for that was that we had to begin at the local level street itself. Research with the Brian, the Southeastern. So we decided to begin at the local level with an annual commemorative observance each February, and the Georgia Legislature General Assembly declared National Day of Remembrance for the Thacker explosion, the plant workers, and the first responders. We have since, in 2019, we dedicated Exit 7 of 5 in memory of the 30 fallen patriots of Thacker. So, to rename in Harris Bluff Road Patriots of Thacker, 600 workers at the Woodbine Thacker chemical plant. And the reason we did that was because that the explosion and to the interstate coming through. We have the education decree through resolution that every February the 3rd at 10:53 a.m., that's the time of the explosion of the plant, each child in the school system would observe a moment of silence. We observed a moment of silence at the annual ceremony. Asked the United States, and now we're asking Congress to posthumously award the 30 patriots of Thacker Medal of Freedom and Congressional Thacker. We asked the National Vietnam to include somewhere in their center, not itself, but include a marker with 30 people's names that were killed at Thacker because they were supporting the Vietnam War. They were killed. For planning the memorial and raising funds. The second part, the 50th anniversary, which was February 2021, we wanted about the National Monument. And to proceed after that, years of planning, building, to unveil the new Monument Education Center and Museum. But we are behind schedule. Sorry. We have established in 2017 the Thacker Memorial Museum. Our museum has over 300 artifacts, historical photos, and we acquire new things every day from the historical societies of Harris County, Texas, Charleston, South Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida, the Southeastern Archives, the Brian Lang Historical Society, from family members and members of the community. We have gathered all of these items, and we are the singular repository for all things Thacker pertaining to Woodbine Thacker chemical plant. We give tours of the museum. We help the children with their history assignments. We have children that do the state fair in history, and when they choose Thypol as their project, some of them travel from as far away as Macon here to study with us and go through the museum. We have children in Belgium and London that do the Thypol history, and we do emails and FaceTime, you know, different things on the computer during their class time to help them out. Uh, the, um, the museum itself is supported by the generosity of the community, Georgia Humanities, and other grants and donations that come in. And it is a collection of things from the 16 cities, the plan itself, and all of the first responders. The 30 people killed at Thypol, we began this project. We had to locate the names. And since the names weren't called out in the history book, we had to do some verification of the names. Many of the people we knew, some of them, maybe 2 or 3 we weren't familiar with. But these people represent the blueprint of the American workforce, where a woman made an hourly wage. They were government contractors, and the women, the female employees at Apple, they were the makers of the trip players. You had 21 women that lost their life on February the 3rd, and you had 8 men that went in and laid their life down trying to save their co-workers. They were a united workforce. These women were members of the union, United Chemical Workers Union 832. And so they lived and died before ERA in 1972. It was fantastic watching these people. They upheld the Constitution, they supplied the troops, and they moved America forward. And because of what happened to them at Thypol, we are a better country, a much better country. And these are the 30 people that we have presented or are presenting for the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Congressional Medal of These are heroes. They hail from 16 cities. You have military and you have civilian first responders. Many of the first responding fire departments were volunteer fire departments, but these are heroes. Uh, 2 groups, the 2 patches that's missing of heroes is Alma, which is Bacon County, and Jessup. We have not applied those as of yet, but we have all of the cities, the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, military that came from Jackson Naval, Cecil Field, Glencoe up in Brunswick, and also Fort Stewart, Hinesville. They responded along with the other cities. Currently online, we're doing a campaign, and that campaign is for the Congressional Gold Medal, and we've asked everyone in America, 335 million Americans, to sign the petition to let Congress know that these people, the 30 people killed at the plant, that they should be awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, and that our intentions are to establish a Thypol Memorial National Park or Thypol Memorial National Monument. This is a 2-part thing. We're asking Congress now, because Congress can legislate a national monument, whereas the president can proclaim a national monument. The Thacker Memorial National Park, our national memorials represent some of the most inspiring, courageous, and triumphant stories in our nation's history. They also represent hardship, injustice, struggle, and hope. Collectively, these stories illustrate who we are as a nation. And our story, we need to tell our story of Thacker. Thacker Memorial National Park will encompass the 600 workers, the 16 cities, the 14 hospitals, the Army, Navy, and the Coast Guard. It will tell the truth of what happened at Thacker, who was responsible for the explosion, and it will also talk about the impact of these people's lives. Thacker is unique. They had two American national missions. Number one was the space program. When the president of the United States asked America, or told America, they challenged them that they would be going to the moon in 10 years, it was here at Thacker they made history. 1965, they made the world's most powerful rocket engine. They didn't get the contract, that particular contract with NASA, but they took up the cause of supporting the troops, and they got a contract making munitions for Vietnam, the 81 millimeters, the trip flares, the deterrent gases, just like we have the people now in Troy, Alabama, making the javelins. So someone in America has to fulfill the obligation as instructed by Congress, and this is what Thacker did. And what we want to do is we want to put a national park along the interstate. That interstate was finished because that's a lesson that we learned from the explosion. We had the land, but had not moved forward with building the interstate. So that emergency had to be done overhead by the Navy and Coast Guard and the private helicopters from St. Simons and Glencoe and Brunswick to try and evacuate the workers and use 2-lane 17 going north and south. I-95 began at the Georgia-Florida line and it ended at Savannah. So we were in between. So we want to put our people on the Purple Heart Trail, the national park, 60 acres, 40 acres to be manicured, botanical gardens, the monument, the museum, and the education center, a place of reflection. This history is so very important because we learned, the lessons learned, the impact of our people. They were a united workforce. They moved America forward into the modern workplace, forming that two-income family. But when this explosion happened, we had to change life as we know it. No more SPRs. We had 19 rooms at the hospital and only 6 of them could be used for people of color. When Mayor Daley talked to the mayor of Jacksonville, he made it clear, bring your people in and stand up everything you have. So we had other hospitals stand up because we were small and we had 600 people. So SPRs went away because of Thacker. The ambulance service was under the funeral homes. That went away because if you were black, you called the black funeral home. If you were white, you called the white funeral home. That was enough. Men gave Jacksonville the money, and Jacksonville earned their reputation as the bold new city of the South. They brought in that new national 911 emergency ambulatory service and taught America how to do it after they came here on that rainy Wednesday. And so we learned no OSHA. April of the next year we got OSHA, but Camden County did everything. This governing body of Camden County, they stood up. Those children that lost their mothers, They opened a daycare center that's open now today, 51 years later. Every mayor in the city, in the county, and the Camden County Board of Commissioners, they stood up, they protected those children, they did everything possible to help us recover. When we couldn't stand, other cities helped us stand. The 16 cities that helped us, we have visited over the last 7 to 8 years, all of the cities with the exception of physically going to Charleston and Savannah. We've been to Alma, Blackshare, Jacksonville, um, Fernandina Beach, Folkestone, Waycross, Brunswick, Darien. We presented this plan to all of these different places, Jessup, even in Baxley. And they're saying, okay, it happened in Camden County, but if Camden County doesn't want it, we will take it. But Camden County has the interstate. And I told them, we will tell our own story. This is our story. We will bring you in to the museum. Each city will have their own corridor to tell their story of their emergency response. And we can work together like we did on that day. Now, the benefits of this national monument, when you talk about enlightening and motivating and inspiring people of all ages, I lived during the time of the people of Bacall. It was fantastic. The women did not want welfare. They refused it. They just wanted dignity. And they worked together like our military worked together. They were the soldiers of the Republic, and the men loved them. And so they moved beyond the circumstance and went to their destiny. Today is just a circumstance. Change your mind, and you can move forward. They looked at the world clear-eyed, and they accepted each other. And they moved on with their mission. This national park will give us a chance to heal the forgotten patriots and the families of those that perished. We still have patriots that are now still being treated and still dying. Some of them never got formal treatment. The one thing that we need to do is make a human capital investment, provide the sustaining economic growth and income to the region. Our children are very well educated, they're skilled, but they can't get a job. This national park will give you 180 jobs on site to 240. It's got to be open 7 days a week. If we could place the national park on the interstate near the northern end of the county, we would have space to grow. There are some owners that have 4,000 acres, some that have 2,600. And so what we need to do is somehow, like was done at Maple Ford Park, when the Scott family gave up their land for the Camden Memorial, and we didn't follow through. We need to get 60 acres of land on the interstate, earmarked for the Bacall Memorial Project, National Park, and put it under the National Park Service. Ownership where the President of the United States can proclaim that a national park or region. The impact would be that we would need lodging, gas, food, clothing. We have the interstate. Anybody within that 60-mile radius, you have, Brunswick has an airport. Jessup has a train station. Jacksonville has an airport. There are a lot of accommodations for people coming in to the region. And the National Park Service in 2020, they brought in $38 billion. The pandemic hit, they might have dropped to 26 billion, but we need to tap into that sustained growth. We need to have our people live here, become educated, and have a place to work. When we when we when we look at national monuments, we looked at Shanksville, New York, the Pentagon, Pearl Harbor, and Oklahoma City. You had members of Congress come to the floor. They came to the floor on Flight 93, the 9/11, American Flight 77. These all came to the floor of Congress. But you have the Pearl Harbor National Monument that was presidential. And you have Oklahoma City that was presidential. But if you look at these figures, how these things are funded, not only with private funds, but some funds from the federal government, you have to make a decision whether or not you want it to be locked in partially with the National Park Service and partially private. We can do this. All we have to do is work together. We have the history. And we need to share this history. And so what I'm asking is for everyone to look at the plan and tell me what you think about it. We had President Trump, he decided that he asked the National Park Service to seriously look at the feasibility of it. And what we're asking the County Board of Commissioners is to endorse the project, to help us move forward. If we work together, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I am definitely willing and open to working with anyone that wants to preserve this history and make certain that our people are placed in their proper place in history. Thank you.
Admittedly, I don't know about you, persistent. And I can assure you, in dealing with government, persistence is about 95%. We all know there's little talent. So I would like to be some things, seeing there's something that we said I was. Thank you. Can they hear us?
Hear you, Chairman.
I got Mr. Clark online. Mr. Clark, we need to approve the minutes of the July 19th meeting. And as Vice Chair Casey threw at me, it needs to be from people that were here. It's the only meeting I've missed, but and there's 3 of us on the diocese, so could I get a motion to accept the minutes of the July 19th meeting? So
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion. We approve the minutes from the July 19th meeting.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, thank you, Commissioner Clark. We got 3 ayes and 1 absent abstention. All right, now, this brings us to a public comment section on the, an agenda item at this time. Could I get a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene a public hearing? So moved. Second. We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Who is there anyone going to, Joey, you gonna present this? You're up, big guy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Commissioners. I read the request for special use approval to allow short-term lodging.
Button. So Natalie is
Also,
catching up. Already went to. Now, let's go ahead and do the public hearing. We'll get back to it. I'm gonna do this agenda out of order anyway. Apparently.
The request for special use approval to allow short-term lodging for a wedding and event venue on property that is zoned agricultural forestry. This parcel is 30.2 acres and located at 560 Episcopal Center Road. Wedding venue for this special use request is located adjacent to this parcel. It was previously approved in 2017. Planning Commission recommends approval.
All right, is there, anyone in the audience desiring to speak in favor of this, special use request? Desiring to speak in opposition? Seeing none? Thank you, Dr. Bachi. Thank you. Did I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting? So moved. Second. All those in favor? Motion carries.
Aye.
Meeting. Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Just making sure you guys are on your toes. Now we're gonna back up. Now we're gonna go to the public comment session. Is anyone registered?
Not during the first budget.
Is there anyone desiring to speak on any items on the agenda? Seeing none? We're back on track. Up, sir.
Request for special use approval to allow short-term lodging for a wedding and event venue, property zone agricultural forestry. This property is located at 560 Episcopal Church Center. Planning Commission recommends approval.
All right, could I get a motion on this item, please? Motion to approve. Second. We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
3 yeas. Thank you. Motion carries. All right, item 2.
I'd like to ask Emily Dawkins to come. Commissioners, Emily has been with us a little over 2 months now. She has passed her initial training to be an animal control officer. Very excited to have her part of our team. She is very eager to learn things. She has a passion for animals, and I do believe she will serve our citizens very well in this county and the cities as well.
It's great.
In the absence of the county attorney, I will administer the oath to Ms. Dawkins. Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will well and faithfully uphold and execute the constitutions and laws of the United States and the state of Georgia, and to the best of your ability, enforce the regulations and ordinances of Camden County? You could sign right here. The judge, and we'll appreciate his presence.
Thank you, Officer Dawkins. No getting bit. out there? There you are. Oh, so you moving around on me. Obviously, I'm
Yes.
jumping all over the place now.
Good evening. I would like to request to consider the budget adjustments regarding the changes needed for FY '23. The amounts reflected are adjustments to reflect a budget correction and a reallocation of salaries, funding for capital improvements that were approved on July the 19th meeting, and other expenses. Request that you approve these as presented.
I got one, I guess, question, comment at least. I'm certainly sad to see that we're losing our, I guess, how do we classify it? Our chief fire contractor. He's no longer a contractor. It's a sad loss. I was very excited. But I'm more excited to find out he has managed to become a full-time employee for Camden County. And I personally couldn't be any more excited for Camden County Fire Department and Camden County as well. So that's one, this budget amendment will certainly get my approval. And welcome, Chief, and bless your heart. Yes. With that stuff, could someone make a motion? Motion to approve. Second. We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
Thank you.
Wondered who the big spender was gonna be this week, and I think she's coming.
I think I'm even asking for money this trip.
It's always in the, it's in the undertow.
Now I'm just giving it away.
There you go.
All right, good evening. The first agenda item that I have is the approval of right-of-way acquisition by the Georgia Department of Transportation for the replacement of the White Oak Bridge on Highway 17. Georgia Department of Transportation will be replacing 3 of the bridges on the north end of the county on Highway 17. One of them at the White Oak crossing does require some additional right-of-way. It's marshland. It's not usable right now by us. The right-of-way coordinator came and presented me with an offer for the 1.649 acres of land, and they will have a widened shoulder when they put the new bridge in. I have asked and I'm recommending that we donate that right-of-way land to them in a partnership as they are replacing those bridges, and we will continue to need additional partnership and funding from them that far exceeds the value of $5,800 that they're offering us for this land. So I am asking if we can move forward to let them have that land and sign that over.
Do you seriously think we need to let them have the land for free?
Yes.
I couldn't.
And in exchange, we need $4 million worth of repair on the other roads, so.
Seems like I consider that a piece of valuable property now. All right. But I'm assuming they probably need to put a bypass or something. Are they gonna, my question, are they gonna close that road?
It is looking that way for potentially up to 3 years, but I am working with them right now and trying to come up with another solution.
When I'm sitting here.
Consecutively, one after another, so.
The Waverly folks are gonna be traveling to Woodbine or wherever, the interstate.
But the ones between the bridges, we got dirt roads.
Where is the first responder? That is true.
When I wrecked 995, and 95 is shut down, what do we do then?
Don't think the rate DOT shouldn't be aware of, should be.
Yes.
So that hearing, and my question these things, they put the sign up on Friday. And when I questioned them about it, I was asking them what the position was, and then they didn't want to talk anymore. They said they would not fund anything on the county road. asked them, what roads are you gonna use? They said Horse Stamp Road and New Post Road. Both of those are county-owned roads. They are not state roads. And they would not, that ended the conversation, and I haven't heard since. Shalana's done all the talking.
Yes, so right now we do have conversations with the
recollection of
project
Horse
manager.
Stamp Road between that and 17 is not
Definitely needs your,
conducive to that type of traffic.
No, sir, it would have to be upgraded and we would have to do it beforehand. And I did reach out to our sheriff's office, the fire rescue, Board of Education, and anyone else I could think of to try to write letters and bring their concerns and questions so that we can collectively present all of those to the Georgia Department of
Has
Transportation.
there been any acknowledgement of the issues from the, since this meeting with?
I don't think there were. This morning when I spoke to the new project manager, because it has turned over hands on their end too. I mean, she immediately recognized the concerns, understood. We were going to do our own traffic counts for log trucks and look at our unpaved roads and the other areas that are going to need significant help as well. So,
This is more than just convenience and inconvenience.
right.
Significant safety issues. And
Yeah.
two, if they're having to reroute. So
Be out in Waycross before.
maybe we need to find out how.
Yeah, let me take a look at it.
Yeah.
The GDOT commissioner and our representative as well, try to get a meeting in person to
Move up the food chain.
apply some pressure.
All right. At any rate, business at hand, start with the contribution of this property. Could I get a motion on that, please?
make a motion, we donate it.
Second. All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We have 4 ayes. All right, at this point, item 5, or intergovernmental agreement.
Yes, item number 5 is the approval of the intergovernment support agreement with the Naval Submarine Base Kings Bay. Several months back, I was contacted by some folks out on the Kings Bay that they were looking to create an intergovernmental service agreement that they are allowed to use and permitted to enter in if it's in the best benefit for the Navy and for the submarine base. So what this intergovernmental agreement will allow them to do, they have a lot of roads and infrastructure that have long since met their lifespan. So one thing that they can do by using this is they can use us to put out their bids or piggyback off of our bids. So when we do our annual LMIG or SPOST resurfacing, if they want to tack on 2 or 3 miles, they can. And we would be allowed to put that out to bid, put it out, and they could use contractors through us so that they could actually get pricing that we get, which is a lot different from the Navy. So if the Navy puts out a bid, they have to use Section 8A contractors that can meet this qualification, and the price tag goes up and up and up when you start narrowing those sectors down. So this intergovernmental agreement would allow them to basically use our RFP process to go through and help them. They've already worked with Georgia Department of Transportation, and they've got some of their own consultants that are helping them evaluate their roads, but we could also help do some of that for them. With that partnership, this would actually allow us to help give them some guidance if they needed some help on culverts or drainage internally, that we had the capacity. They have an administrative fee built in. We would use FEMA rates for reimbursement. So if we took a load of dirt out to the base, we would be reimbursed for the truck rate, for the dirt and all of that, plus administrative fee. So we would be compensated, and for any RFP processes and the work that our procurement department would do, as well as obviously being able to be a partner with the base and help them.
To me, I get the significance of partnering with the base. We always want to be working with them. I'd like to, as you said in your opening statement, as it benefits the base, I want to benefit Camden County as well.
Okay.
I understand why they would like their RFP to piggyback on ours. Now, let me ask you this, and that contract, would that be a contract that they would have with us and we have a contract with the base, or would that contract go with the contractor on the base? I mean, the reason I'm asking is when you do work on that federal base, wages are paid based on the Davis-Bacon Act. And sometimes they're significantly higher than wages around here. Now, 2 things can happen out of that. it might preclude local contractors from being able to participate in on it when it's done that way. And then again, it may open the door for it. So I'd like to understand a little bit more how this contract process would work respectively.
We become the prime contractor, so the way our agreement with the base is written as it states, now, we would become the prime contractor and they, at that point, are hands off. They really don't want to be involved in it. They don't want to put theirs in. So if I put it out to, a local company could, any of our local asphalt companies could bid on that work. And we would use the same procurement process that we use today, choose one of those vendors,
Okay.
and they would perform that work.
That's what I was trying to understand because, that would give us greater flexibility in local contractors here being able to bid out there as well.
They have a small budget too. The budget
Yeah.
they have is like $1 million a year. They have about $1 million a year to spend at this point. That's all they have.
Bless their hearts. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I would like to believe that they understand more about submarines and nuclear reactors than they do roads.
Yes.
I'll give them recognizing that you probably know more about that than they do, which I couldn't agree, and I certainly understand the desire for them to do this. Can we get a motion on this? Does anybody else have any? Motion to approve?
Second.
Excuse me. We have first and second. All those in favor? Motion carries 4. Thank you, Ms. Mack.
Thank you.
I just wanted to kind of point out, say out loud some of those items so we all hear how it works. Mr. Boatright.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm bringing before you tonight the consideration to approve a lease agreement with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. This is for the Temple Creek Boat Ramp out in Browntown. We've been in conversation with DNR for probably 3 or 4 months now, and that boat ramp is in need of repair. DNR is willing to take that project on, completely build a new boat ramp. We've had some issues out there with just maintenance, or not this, it's more so the ramp itself. We're constantly having to go out, perform maintenance on it. So this would actually allow DNR to spend state proceeds on this ramp itself. This would actually be the only boat ramp that the DNR would actually have a lease on the St. Mary's River within Camden County. It's actually like 2 different sections in DNR. There's one that stays west of 17. And then you have CRD, which is Coastal Resources Division. This would be working more so with the inland side, but this is a 25-year lease agreement. It's for 1.94 acres. All of the maintenance we already do on the property anyway, as far as picking up litter, maintaining all the grass, shoulder areas, asphalt, anything like that. What Georgia DNR is going to be able to perform is actually building and renovating that boat ramp. Now, I will say that this is going to require, obviously, that boat ramp to be out of service for some time, so it will impede some people's ability, but there is try to work with them, because there is a pretty wide area there where you'll still be able to somewhat put in, so I think we can still work with them on that. It's just a matter of how the construction is going to be done.
Have we seen any plans about what they plan to construct out there?
I have not seen plans yet. They haven't got that far. So if we approve the lease tonight, the lease goes to the state and then they'll approve.
I'd like to see what they're proposing before we say.
Basically what's out there now, it'll just be a new ramp itself. You know, a little bit wider than what it is now. That the area is pretty much going to stay the same. It'll just be a brand new ramp.
Let me ask you this. What's the downside to us? I mean, I understand that
There-
the DNR would
yeah.
be forming all the costs and expenses of upgrading it.
There really is no downside. I've actually done this in Charlton County.
It brings up that old saying, we're the government, we're here to help, but
Right.
I want to know, who operates the boat ramp? Who oversees it? Who says it's open or closed?
So right now, there's really no signage out there. DNR, they'll post signs up about the fisheries, the different type of wildlife, the recreational area. It'll be listed on DNR's website as far as another recreational area within the state. Right now, it's not listed on there at all. So I think it'll gain a little bit more attraction overall within the state. What it really does is it allows the state to spend state proceeds in that area.
I get that part, I really do, I'm just questioning a little bit. Those folks out there that utilize it, they consider it to be theirs in Camden County, and they, you know, it's,
We'll still be the owner, and we'll still be responsible for maintenance, but as far as updating the ramp itself, I think this is gonna be a huge benefit to the citizens out in that area.
I'm just being the devil's
I
advocate.
know, I
here.
understand.
Besides, it's fun to do that to you. The other side of that, who controls the operational hours?
It'll be open 24/7 from my
Says who,
understanding.
us or them?
No, we do. We're the owner.
I understand, but we're leasing it to them, and are we not giving up rights of operation of it?
No, sir. It's the same exact lease that's entered into with several other counties. Like I said, I did this in Charlton, and we did it at Trader's Hill, and nothing changed whatsoever.
I mean, if all we're gonna do is give them the lease so they can come in here and fix our boat ramp, make it a nice boat ramp, but we still maintain operational control. And, you know, somebody's not coming in from Atlanta saying, this thing can't be open June 7th, whatever.
Never heard of that issue ever occurring.
If anything, they put restrictions on us not being able. Okay. We want it open 24/7. I agree. I just want to say these things out loud. Kind of understand where I'm going. That being said, can we get a motion on it? Motion to approve. Second. They have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have 4 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bover. This brings us to reports. Ms. Bishop,
There's no changes to the calendar.
Mr. Howard,
Let's say if you're happy, I'm happier of the appointment of Chief Smith. I made a phone call in 2018 to him and asked him if he'd want to serve, and he said yes. So to see this opportunity to see him come as our full-time fire chief is amazing. I also want to thank the city of Kingsland for this innovative shared service agreement. Oftentimes, there's those relationships, strengthening those relationships, but this is really innovative with working for the city and continuing that relationship on is pretty amazing. So I was glad to see Mayor Day actually have a quote in our press release. And I just want to thank the city as well for their willingness to share Chief Smith, and they're going to share Chief Smith as well and reciprocate.
yeah, I was just more excited about Chief becoming ours. But I do want to recognize the fact that we've had this working relationship with Kingsman. He was theirs, we just rented him. And we're just swapping places now. He's all ours. And couldn't be happier. And we do appreciate the cooperation that we've gotten from, Kingsland, the mayor and their council. And I know the chief does as well, because he's had a great working relationship juggling these two hats between them, so.
He'll continue to do a great job. Sure. So that's all I got.
No doubt about it. All right, at this time, do we have any additional public comments, Ms. Bishop?
I do. Is Timothy and Lynn Roberts?
I'm sorry, what was the name?
My name is Lynn Roberts, and my husband's name is Timothy Roberts.
Lynn Robertson.
Yes.
Timothy, okay,
Yes, good evening, commissioners.
Gary.
It's okay. We live at 95 Ben Butler Road in Woodbine. And we had a little background. We had moved to that property in 2002, actually 20 years ago today. And we previously had came to this commission and commissioners board regarding water that's draining on our property. So it comes from Highway 17. It travels down Liza Rudolph Road over the railroad track, comes to Ben Butler Road, comes down to our property. Okay, and then this is before we moved out there, it was wooded. So this is the way the county had directed it. The minutes from 18th, 2003, when we came, it shows that the area it was directing to was considered swamp at the time because no one was living back there behind us. So it would go out that swamp area and it would come down and eventually go out across Liza Rudolph and go out Walker Swamp area. Okay, okay, so after that meeting, sometime later, the county put down several culverts on Ben Butler Road to help The idea was to make the water go back up, then up the railroad track and out that way. Water doesn't travel up, it travels down, so that never really happened. So in the meantime, we've been kind of maintaining the water that still comes on our property. The culvert slowed it down, but it didn't stop it. So we've pretty much been maintaining the water by putting a ditch on the side of our property to help the normal water flow go still the way it was directed to go through this swampy area and out to Walker Swamp. Okay, so in the meantime, and there's also 5 other properties that bump up to this property behind us where the swamp is located. So this doesn't just affect us, it affects them as well. So to bring you up to date, we have new owners have purchased the property that is directly behind us. They have dug a pond, significantly large pond that is blocking off that water flow through that swampy area across the road to go out to Walker Swamp. So while we went to the road department while they were digging it to say this could be a potential problem, looked at it, and then they told us to contact the code enforcer, which we did. He said that there really wasn't much he could do with it, so he referred us to Ms. Shalana, who's been very helpful and very understanding. So the road department and her came out again to our property to look at the water and to look at the landowner's pond that they had dug. So apparently they had someone come with a backhoe to try to dig a trench behind the pond to, I guess, alleviate the water. But that's, from what we've been told, it's not deep enough. It needs to probably go another 8 feet deep because it's blocking
The
everything.
ditch.
Yes, the trench the trench they tried to dig behind the pond.
That sounds like a ditch, sound like more than a trench, but I got you.
Right, okay,
Needs to
so,
be deeper to handle.
yes, because the water's not flowing, and so it's stopped, literally stopped. So we have an elderly neighbor that lives next to us, next door. The water is pretty much coming up to her shed. We have another neighbor that's on the other end. She can't mow the backyard because of all the water back there. So this has created a big nuisance to us because we have stagnant water, we have the odor, we have the mosquitoes. Now we have the seagulls and whatever out there in the water, I guess, trying to get minnows. I don't know what they're doing out there now. But it's compounding. So we're holding our breath every day that it doesn't rain, and everyone knows we haven't even gotten into our rainy season yet. So this is going to be a serious, serious problem. And I don't feel like this should be a civil issue simply because we're caught in the middle. We shouldn't have to pay money to retain an attorney because of something the landowners behind us did. So we need help.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me say this about that, I don't know. We talked about this? Yes. I didn't think so. So if you would, give me an opportunity to get with McBee and the other guys, and if you will leave Ms. Bishop how we can reach out to you, and let me look at it. Anything I said now would be,
Right,
which I'm not opposed to, but I think y'all want to hear something
right,
more
understand.
substantial than
Understand.
a wild guess, so.
Okay.
Give me the opportunity for that, and I'll reach out to you.
We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you
Thank
for your
you.
time.
And I do have your information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. It's a foot race. Yes, sir. You state your name and address, that'd be great.
I'm Joe Hannon, resident of Camden. I live in Charter County as I speak. But I want to thank you. I got a little confused when you don't other comments, so I didn't stand the comment on the thing about the national park that Janie spoke of. I think Camden, I know Camden County and the other counties and the other cities that Janie spoke of should get behind this national park, this monument, and make this thing happen. It should be. those workers gave everything. I often speak about the trilateral thing for me. I was in Vietnam. I served, and I know what the trip flares meant. I know what the mortar meant. They saved our lives, and there was stuff that was needed. In Camden County, this place called Thicol provided us with those munitions. They also provide us, even to this day, with the greatest aspect, I think, of workers who gave it all. We're talking about soldiers. I think that they should be recognized as citizen soldiers, not just workers. But I just want to comment on that, and I hope that we can get this done. I say we. I heard Janie speak in the church. First time I ever saw her. And she spoke about doing something about Thicol. And to this day, I thank God for me being in that church at that time to hear. And I've served with her. I served as vice president under her for 3 years. Tried to contribute everything I could as a person, as a citizen, as a county person that I could. And I think we all should do the same thing. Let's make this happen. And ain't no doubt about it. Janie, the sharpest knife in the drawer.
I'll let y'all hang with how sharp the knife is, but I assure you, she's one of the most persistent. So again, I will reiterate that. And I see why she brought you along. You followed up her well. Yes, sir.
Glad he went first because I'm glad he went first because I can't move as fast as he can. Bert Seals, 816 Riverview Drive, St. Mary's. I'm here in reference to this Thicol Memorial Project. I served Southwest and Southeast, so shit. I was a lousy one. Always less work. Didn't mean nothing as far as I'm concerned. Because bottom line is, I got you. You know what I'm talking about. So bottom line is, I think this Thicol incident was based on safety. 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 If these folks are doing the safe things, they were providing all the safety regulations at the time. Those 30 people, they probably would have still been here with us. Bottom line is, they're not. Because of inconsistencies. So here we are today. I want to pay back on the brother here. We need to move this thing forward. And to go forward, you guys have to do your bit. One of the things, I just went my first at the museum about 2 weeks ago. And because I'm retired from the military. I moved down here in 2015. My wife is a Hutchinson. She also retired from the military. She don't talk much about the military stuff because she wasn't in Vietnam, but she was in Desert Storm. I was in Vietnam and Desert Storm. So I can understand where she's coming from. But coming down here and going through what's going on here right now, and we have an opportunity to make things, put things in perspective, make things right. Because those folks died, they died for us in many ways. They provided the stuff that we needed. However, one of the things that I'm concerned about is Miss Everett. And with you guys need to work on it to get this thing moving forward because we don't know how long or if somebody could replace her. Sure. I was doing stuff the same way she was doing things. And you get too far and too involved with certain things in life, people don't give a rat's behind because you're gone. So I spoke to her and I said, look, sometimes you need to back up a little bit, but we're going to support you, and I will support her. That's why I'm here. I've never been here before. And the bottom line is, to make this thing happen again, I'm seeing it over and over, you guys have to make it happen. That's the bottom line. One of the things I was wondering, I was going to ask, have you guys served in Vietnam? Well, a man over here already told me. I put that ad up there, so I know that. I don't know about the rest. You don't have to answer. One thing I know is that I went through this museum, and guess what? I knew you has never been there apparently before. By your own words. You know what I mean? You're a commissioner here. You should have been down there, at least set aside some kind of time. Go down there and listen to what she has to say. Because I sat and listened. You know what I mean? And it was very, very rewarding to me because I'm like, wow, I didn't know we were getting blown up over here, right in this country. And it shouldn't have been happening. Because again, of safety issues. So, all I can say is, to move forward, you guys have to do it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Like I stated, I made a commitment that I will get with her. She said some things tonight that really piqued my interest, that I fully acknowledged I did. And I've heard her talk a good bit. She articulated details tonight that I wasn't aware of, that maybe I would be aware of, had I visited what she did. But, I think we can pull ourselves up and out of this. I'll certainly do my part to make my amends. And we'll look and see what we can do. And we'll solicit Mr. Howard over there. Believe it or not, he's pretty good at making things happen. But when you get it pointed in that direction, so. We'll look at it and see, there's some, like I said, there were some things that really, she even mentioned that really caught my attention, that made it more, not to say that the deaths of these people were not sad, you know, their deaths attributed to everything, but it was more than that. And it was things because of what happened and things that happened after what happened, the changes and the corrections of things that happened. I think that's as significant or maybe more so than anything. You know, what the year after is to not these folks to have died in vain, in essence. So I'll do my part. We'll go look and see. Is there anyone else desiring to address the board? And I will throw in, I do understand what you're talking about, you can work at it. Down you go.
My name is Phyllis Rome, and I worked at the plant at that time. I was on evening shift at that time.
You were what?
I was on evening shift.
What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Phyllis Rome.
Phyllis Rome? Okay.
Yeah, I was a drummer at that time, and
What?
I worked at the plant.
What's that mean?
Last name.
Oh, you were a drummer.
Yeah, yes.
I thought that was what you did. I'm like,
Yes. Yes, and
I'm sorry.
I worked at the plant.
I want to hear what you said.
And I was on evening shift at that time.
Yeah.
And my mom's sister was one of the ladies that got killed out there. And everybody out there, we were like family, so this project means a lot to me. It means a lot. And CEO Janie, her mom worked out there. She was injured in the explosion also. A couple of ladies worked there at the plant. They're still here. So like to, they said you're gonna, do your part. Looking for you.
I'll come down there and meet with her. She can bring as many as she wants.
All right. Hey, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Mr. Turner.
My name is Martin Turner. I live at 169 Austin Ryan Drive in Kingsland. I want to say the same thing. That was a great presentation. Thank you for that. I was in the 10th grade, Camden County High School when that happened, February the 3rd. And I still remember it to this day. Our community at that point was in turmoil anyway. But we were trying to come together as a group. We were split apart severely. But after that day, I still, I remember some of our football players, and I was on the team, and some of the guys, they lost family, and it was tragic. It was extremely tragic. A couple of years ago, R.D. Jones asked me to come when you guys met at the high school football and do the invocation, and I did. Coldest day I can remember. I couldn't believe it. If you remember, I had to help Fred Myers and Scarlett even get to their microphone. It was so cold that day. But what a great presentation. I agree with these folks. I think that's exactly what we need. We need our community to come back together again with one purpose, and that's a great mission that you've got going there, and I want to thank you for it myself. And this has nothing to do with politics. It has something to do with community. Thank you for bringing our community together.
Anyone else?
I'm Terry Mungeon, 47 Highway 259, White Oak, Georgia. And came on board in 2018 at Dyke Hall College. First met Jane, Habitat student, and she was trying to hold some cloths in her hand. Cloths kept falling down. She said, no, thank you. I said, this is the most stubbornest woman I've ever seen in my life. When I came on board, I didn't even know about Dyke Hall Z. And as I go around in my journey, it's a lot of people say, what is that? They don't even know. So went to the Chamber of Commerce and read it on Dyke Hall, and there was one paragraph. I said, all this history in one paragraph. I told Janie, I said, this got to change. This is why people don't know anything. All this going to have to change because all the things that happened and the things went on, these people should be more honored than what they are. But I didn't know. A lot of other people didn't know. And I talked to a lot of vets. And they tell me a whole lot of things. And I said, you know what? I said, it's sad. After I found out all this, when I went to the museum and I seen all this history, I looked around and I said, I didn't know the thing. And it's a lot of people still don't know a lot of things. But I'm saying, what these two gentlemen say, we need to get the move on. Thank you.
Like you got a good team there behind you there, Janie. And like I said, I don't disagree that people aren't aware. I've heard you talk a good bit, and I'm looking to say my point is tonight that I think you brought out things that I hadn't heard before. I would like to believe that more than I didn't hear you before. So I'm gonna be kind to me and say you bring out new information to me. But nonetheless, I think it is. It was, and as Mark pointed out, it was more than just an explosion. It was a coalescing of things, and it was a changing of things, and it brought people together that I wasn't here, but I was here. I grew up near here. I grew up in this area, so I mean, we all understand. It was the Vietnam, everything about it. And no, sir, I did not serve in Vietnam. I was in college, and back then you had the draft number, and I had a high one. And my daddy said, "You gonna stay in school?" And I was more scared of my daddy than I was the government. So I did. But nonetheless, is there anyone else?
I got something. Sure. My father worked out there, that plant. He didn't come home 3 days. He stayed out there helping. So I know where you're coming from.
Big guy, you can't do that. I'll be up here crying like a baby. Anyhow, I think it resonates more than you possibly know, Janie. And I think that, I think if we sit down and listen to one another, let's see what we can move forward on this. It's, maybe I've had epiphany, but I see it can potentially have more traction than I've seen. So, like I said, we'll, I will meet you at your memorial now, museum. And we'll, talk. Anyone else? Thank you. I can't take it. And with that being said, I get a motion. Motion to adjourn. Second. Amen, amen. All those in favor? We stand adjourned. Thank you.